once they were wed, their mercenary days were done. As if reading Dilys's thoughts, Ari draped an arm across Ril's broad shoulders and pointed his chin towards the bride and bridegroom, both clad in shimmering sea blue, with circlets of fuchsia and yellow flowers on their heads, their necks draped in plump stoles made from dark green tilly leaves, dotted with tiny, delicate white Merimydia blossoms. Just think, cousins, before the year is out, that will be us standing on the beach beside our lianas, grinning like we just won the All Isles Cup. The All Isles Cup was Calberna's most coveted prize in competitive sailing. Speaking as a former All Isles champion, Dilys said, I can promise you I'll be grinning much, much more on my wedding day. I know that's true, Ril agreed. It was no secret among Dilys's close friends just how impatient he was to close the youthful unwed chapter of his life and move on to the next. 4 years ago, Dilys had earned his Olumilia, the tattoo curling across his right cheekbone that proclaimed him a man worthy of taking a wife. Most Calbernans wed within a year, 2 at most, once they earned that mark, but not Dilys, and not by his choice either. He'd been sailing the sea, fighting other people's wars for more than 15 years now. He was more than ready for the comfort and joy of a wife and family. Unfortunately, because his mother was both the Maerial, the ruling queen of Calberna, and the matriarch of House Merimydion, one of Calberna's oldest and most venerated royal houses, and because Dilys was his mother's only child, his marriage had become a matter of state. He carried great power in his pure Calbernan blood, power that should have been merged with the pure blood of another great Calbernan house, not diluted by marriage to an Ulani, an outlander. But the death of his childhood betrothed, Nyamaeline Calmyria, had ended those hopes. And because any son of Calberna who wed an outlander remained a part of his mother's house rather than joining his wife's, marriage between Dilys and an Ulani woman opened the door for a half-blood daughter to become the next Maerial of Calberna and the next matriarch of House Merimydion. A committee of the Queen's Council, led by Dilys's uncle, Calavan Merimydion, had therefore spent years investigating the bloodlines and magical gifts of Mystral's most powerful families to select a suitable bride for their prince. The committee, which Dilys's cousin Ari had jokingly labelled the Bride Hunters, had concluded that Dilys should wed one of the daughters of the Summer King. But before the marriage could be arranged, Prince Falcon of Summerlea ran off with the Winter King's betrothed, murdered that same king's heir while making his escape, and threw Winter Craig and Summerlea into 3 long years of war. It was only now, after 2 negotiated treaties and 4 years of war, rebellion, and a ferocious battle to prevent the return of a dread god who would have cast the world into endless winter, that Dilys was finally setting off to claim his outlander bride. Not all Calbernans were happy this day had come. A group calling themselves the Pure Blood Alliance had been quite vocal in their opposition to Dilys taking an Ulani bride, and they'd gained the support of quite a few powerful houses. Is spring still the season of choice? Ril asked. Dilys tossed another boy high in the air, caught him, set him down, and shrugged in answer to Ril's question before picking up the next boy and sending him flying up into the air. If my uncle has his way. Spring Coruscate, eldest of the late Summer King's daughters, was the wife Uncle Calavan and the bride hunters had decided upon for Dilys. She was wise, capable, and from all reports possessed the strongest magic of the 3 princesses known as the Seasons of Summerlea. Even though Summerlea's weather gifts never passed down to children outside the kingdom's direct royal line, Spring had other gifts, including a substantial talent for growing things, a gift that would benefit House Merimydion's agricultural enterprises nicely. She would make an acceptable mother for Calberna's next queen, they had decided. Assuming, of course, that the gods blessed the union with a treasured daughter for House Merimydion, while Alice Aldria lived. After the marriage, Dilys was also expected to combine the strength of Spring's weather gift with the power of his own sea gifts to reassert Calbernan power in the Olamas Ocean, where a band of pirates had been causing trouble and disrupting trade for the last year. Ari cast him a sly grin. Any chance you might...